What's going on, Zach?
Hey, how do you say your name?
Arrow. Isn't that kind of weird?
No, I love it.
How would you have said it?
I think I thought it was Aro, but Arrow is cooler.
It's one of those radio things. You know how we are in radio. We want to do something a little bit different, and so we always try to reinvent the system.
Yeah. Where are you at radio?
I've been in radio for 44 years. I'm here in Charlotte, but now with streaming and stuff, pretty much, dude, we're global. I mean, Zach, you're being heard by the world.
Right on.
So it's like going on a world tour, but sitting in the same seat.
That's right. I love it, man. And is this live?
No, but and the reason why is because I've always believed that you could say something like when I visit with the people of The Voice, they'll tell me stuff that they're not supposed to, and it's like, you know what? I'm not letting that out because that wasn't supposed to get out.
I like it.
You know how creative minds are. They want to tell the story.
I know. Yeah, I've gotten myself in trouble. Trust me. No, it's not, then it's also, just so I know, it's not visual. Even though I clicked my camera on, you didn't. So this is just audio.
Well, you know what the reason is behind that is the fact that, Zach, that I'm a radio guy. So I have been trained to listen, not look at pictures. So and it's just one of those things where it's like, wow, I think we can get a deeper story if we just listen to each other.
That's cool, man. I dig it.
Yeah.
So one last question, just administratively. How long will we go, just so I know?
Until you're done.
Okay, cool. I like it.
So look, we got to start it off with December, because I really want to know, as a songwriter, how do you take a song that had absolutely nothing to do with the month of December in the way of Christmas, and you make it, oh my God, it is such a Christmas song now.
I appreciate you saying that. That was really the exercise. So I'll tell you, we got invited to be part of a, like, I don't know, some funny name, like a very grungy Christmas compilation album, which did not come to pass. But I was, they were saying, do you have a Christmas song? And I sent December, and they said, this is not really a Christmas song. It says December, but as you just pointed out, Arrow. It's funny. I had the conversation actually with my my wife. I was like, it's really not. It's really a song about missing someone, but promising to always come home. And I listened to it, and I thought, I could change a couple lines, add in the word literally, I'll be home by Christmas time, and then see a shining star in the northern sky, and a few other little tiny lines. And then it will be. And secondly, I'll say redoing the song. I love the original version of the song. I truly do. But it's very, let's see, how do I put this? It's very pretty, the original version.
Yep.
Which is cool. And it was kind of what we were going for. The new version is a little bit more grungy, for lack of a better word. And so it was actually really fun to reimagine it, right, musically or lyrically, but also musically. And I wasn't expecting that. So, super cool.
See, I've been in the studio where the engineer has suggested that I change a few lyrics. And I kind of stood back going, wait, I'm paying you to do this song. You're suggesting you want me to change a lyric? How did you deal with the emotional connection to something like that?
I got to tell you, man, it was pretty easy. I don't mean to sound flippant, because my whole life is songwriting. I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit, but my life is writing songs and producing. I'm in with a band right now, just all day today, with a rock band from Portland, Oregon. We're recording here in Nashville, where I'm based. And, that's what I do. So, but what I will say is, it is important, right? That attachment to it. But I'm actually usually pretty open to people giving me ideas.
Right.
I live in a very, very collaborative world, right? I also teach a class at Oklahoma State University of songwriting on Zoom. And I must say the word collaborate every 2 times per Zoom class, because to me, it's all about that. And I'll even be in a studio, and like I was producing something, my son and his girlfriend came to just say hi and drop something off. And then I said, you sit and listen. And as they were just sitting there, I would turn to my kid Jude and say, "What do you think of that?" So I'm actually pretty into that whole idea of giving ideas and collaborating as best you can.
But I'm so afraid of collaborations right now because of the recent thing with Daryl Hall and John Oates. I mean, here are a couple of people who have been together for all these years, and now it's like, what's going on here? This can't be a Lennon and McCartney moment here.
Yeah, well, I do hear you. And yes, there is always there's sort of let's see, how do I put this? I don't want to sound like an ass, but I will tell you this, that here's the way I'll frame it. I am very lucky. I'm knocking on wood that I'm still in this business after 30 years. And I have put myself in a position, Arrow, that I don't work with anyone that I'm afraid is going to fuck me over. I'm just not. I'm not. I'm lucky that way. Now, listen, the first couple of years I was in the business, there was a producer that once, basically took some tracks from me and claimed them as his own. There were definitely some songwriting moments early on, especially here in Nashville, that I was the new guy in town. So basically I was the new kid and, was put in bad situations. But I work with a lot of the same people. The person I'm co-producing this album with, Blair Daly, I'm also business partners with him in a publishing company. No one's going to screw me over. Now, listen, I will say your Hall & Oates mention is funny, because who would have ever thought?
Right?
Least of all, probably each of them, that they would never screw each other over. But again, I'm going to knock on wood and say, it hasn't happened to me yet. I hope it doesn't. And I'm a pretty trusting guy too. Maybe that's it. Maybe that'll be my downfall. Who knows?
But you know what's great about the music industry these days is the fact that you now have the power to make the choices. Whereas back, 20 years ago? No, they put the team together. You didn't.
Sure. No, man, it's exactly right. And again, I'm producing this band that's in from Portland for the next few weeks because A, I love the music, and B, they're good dudes. We Zoomed with them like 10 times before we ever agreed to do it. Wrote some songs. They had great ideas, very talented, great singer. We cut our first vocal today and he slayed it. So again, right, what you just said, right? 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I probably took a project just because I needed to take the project. Right. But I'm lucky, again, I'm blessed, and I've had enough experience in the business and had a few hits along the way, so I can put myself in the situations I want to be in.
The one thing that really, when listening to the original version of December and then the Christmas version, it reminds me so much of the group Sheriff with the song "When I'm With You," which came from the mid 1980s. And the thing is that it took forever to get that song to be played on the radio, but they kept remixing it, re-releasing it, remixing it, re-releasing it. Are you prepared for the fact that the original version is going to make it to the radio?
Am I prepared for?
In other words, people are going to discover the Christmas version of December, but they're also going, because you know how people search on the internet, and then they're going to discover the original version and go, "Holy crap! This is the version I like."
Yeah, well, it's already happened, man. It's a good question because it's already happened. Like, it's actually kind of funny. I got on a couple of the Nixons fan Facebook page, and it's almost evenly split, which is hilarious to me. It's like, I like it okay, but I still love the original. Right, they're since it's our fan page, they're super polite. No, I didn't see very many really mean ones like "this sucks," none of that. But or this one blows the other one away. It was more comments like, "Man, I really loved the piano on the original. I kind of miss it," or "Whoa, this one has way more teeth. It's really gritty and cool." Another interesting difference is for deep dive fans, we are back with our original bass player, Ricky Brooks. Our second bass player, Ricky Walking, is on the original version of December, and he had he played his part in the song, right? So there's definitely, some different bass vibes going on. I'll say, which again, I like. Like, I think my bandmates would tell you that they really prefer the new version. I truly don't. I mean, I really, really like that it's there and it exists. But I really can't tell you I like better than this one or more than this one.
Yeah. If you were to stand back 10 feet, though, don't you think that we're in the age of music where we need another power generation, another power ballad generation, in the way that, because it's like everything else is out there, but we don't have a power ballad.
Yeah, man. It's really funny you should bring this up. So weird. Like you had some sort of like listening device for the last 2 days with me and my writing partners and producing partners, because this is my exact pitch I made. And I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up just because you brought it up. But I said to my guy, Blair, I'm like, you know what we need? Because we're still writing. So we've written like 4 or 5, but we want to write a couple more. And I said, you know what we should do, man? We should try to do a ballad with these guys. It's a very active rock band, loud guitars. And I said, don't like laugh at me out loud too much, but like, what version of a ballad could we do in 2024 with this active rock band that fills the shoes that I'm the one who wants to be with you, or extreme, more than words. And again, you couldn't write a song like that and it be a hit today. It would have to be a modern version of it. But you are right. Where are those ballads? And to answer your question, I don't know, but I think I'm getting ready to make one. So there you go.
Dude, Extreme came to my studio back in the 1990s and sang that song with one guitar, and I've never been the same since.
That is pretty cool, man.
See, that's what's great about what you guys do. You are not afraid to become partners with the radio relationship.
Yeah, I mean, dude, are you kidding me? I mean, I was just was actually talking to Mistress Carrie from obviously from WAAF for people in Boston. They know exactly who she is, and she said it. She's like, you guys were always a little bit different in the Nixons. You were always so great with us, and we consider, this will sound cheesy, but we consider our fans sort of part of our family. And I consider radio. I mean, dude, the Cat in Oklahoma City played my band in 1992, dude, 1991 on the local show, right? And then it kind of blew up a little bit, and then whoa, we should put this in regular rotation. And then 2 years later, we had a major label record deal with MCA. So, dude, don't even get me started about radio and how sad it is that stations like WAAF in Boston don't exist anymore. That's just so sad to me. On the flip side, I will say, people try to get me to bitch about people try to get me to bitch about everything. Like, you must hate American Idol. You must hate American Idol and The Voice because it's not old school like you did in a van and trailer. I'm like, no, it's there. Just use whatever you can use. Use whatever tool, platform, whatever, because it's just, it's an ever changing world. And the days of getting in a van, pulling a trailer, touring for 3.5 years and getting a record deal like we did, I'm not sure that it works that way anymore. And, so I'll never bemoan anyone that says, there's a country artist here in town that career was kind of over. He had started writing and he had a TikTok moment. I mean, and he's just got a record. Yeah. He just had his first #1 country song. So I just don't think that you can really, like I said, I don't think you can diss anything anymore, So there are a ton of different ways to get music out, but I do miss the old days of going and sitting in a radio station and for the morning show.
Oh my God.
Singing in my hungover voice, trying to scratch through systems. Yeah. No.
Oh my God. To listen for the squeaking and all that kind of stuff. But I got to tell you though, even with the two of us being in the industry as long as we have, you got to look at American Idol and America's Got Talent, stuff like that, and go, okay, they're singing, they're getting attention. What can we do as teachers to bring them forward?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, man, I'm not gonna tell you that I've helped shape careers. And I didn't set out to, but I will say that every one of those people that I wrote with, and when American Idol was on fire, I wrote with Carrie Underwood, but much later, like on the third album. So she didn't need me to give her any advice, but I did tell every one of them, and I wrote with 3 or 4 or 5 of them that, dude, I was in the room with them 3 days after the confetti had fallen on their heads and they had won that show. Or plenty of second place people too, because a lot of them got record deals back in when it was on fire. And so to answer your question, I always said, listen, I'm not trying to tell you your business, but you have an amazing opportunity because of a talent show on TV, because that's what it is. And you won. So just hear me out here. Don't let anyone, you've got it now. You got the golden ticket. Don't let anyone, guide the ship for you, listen to people and take their advice. Yes, for sure. And then I was like, and the other thing I got to tell you is you got to go out there and you've got to play and you've got to have a great live show. I helped a couple of them put together their bands. I was like, do not be that guy 5 years from now that people are like, what was that guy's name that won American Idol that year? Remember he did that version of so-and-so song, blah, blah, blah. And so, listen, man, the 2 or 3 or 4 of them that are still at it, I'm super proud of me being a little tiny, part of their career. And David Cook I had one of my first big active rock hits with David Cook. And I just saw online that he just played what looked like a sold out show last week. He was on Broadway for a little bit. So, yes, I'm not telling you I was the wise old sage, but I definitely said, listen, I've been here and I'm telling you, don't waste this chance. And the other thing I tell my kids, my son Jude, who's in the music trying to make it, is be nice to everyone, because the people that you see on your way up are the same people you're going to see on your way down. And it's a cliche, sorry for that, but it's worked for me, man. I mean, I can't tell you how many people say, "Oh, you're Zach from the Nixons. I remember meeting you at this thing or this thing or this thing," and so that's why you're there too, Arrow. You're obviously a good dude.
Creatively speaking, how do you deal with the moments of that we used to have to go to the record store? Nowadays, all I have to say is, Alexa, play the Nixons. And I feel like that they're not working hard enough to get to the music.
Yeah, and listen, I hear you. And I was just I'm reading Bono's book, Surrender, and it's really great. But by the way, I recommend it to anybody who loves music. But he talked about that in literally in the first chapters, that he every Friday, after riding his bike to school, him and his friends went to this record shop, and that's where they picked up albums and looked at David Bowie and freaked out and like, oh my God, who is this, mythical looking person, on this album cover. And so, yes, I do miss it. And the Nixons are actually releasing a double live vinyl in the next month or two. So we're all about it. I'm all about the tactile vinyl. Hell, we still press up CDs. Because people do like to put their hands on those things. But what I'll say to you, and I'm not pushing back on your comment of how easy it is, but what I will say is this, is that having kids that are 23 and 21 now, seeing how they've consumed music over the last 10 years, I will tell you this, that both my kids have come to me and said, oh my God, you'll never believe what I just found. Yep. And they're finding it on the internet. They're finding it on YouTube. They're finding it. Their friends are sending them a link for, I'll never forget my oldest son, Ben, saying, you got to listen to this band with me, Dad. I think you'd like them. They're called Vampire Weekend. This is before anything had really happened with them. And on the flip side of that coin, Jude, my youngest, came to me and said, you got to hear this guy, Jason Isbell, that he discovered. So again, I'm not pushing back on you because I miss it too, but the way we found stuff back in our day, sounds so old, is it's different. But I would argue that in some ways it's kind of cool. I mean, it's kind of cool that, and the other thing I'll say about that I really dig about the internet or about consuming music the way we do now is playlisting. Like I hate even uttering that word, but it's kind of cool because I'll get on someone that I'm a fan of, and I clicked on one a while back that old friend Matt Penfield had curated, and it was everything. It was songs from the 90s, songs from the 60s, songs from last year, songs that had just come out. It was singer-songwriter. It was rock. So, I don't know. There's negatives for sure. You and I can both agree there are negatives to the way we consume things. The whole idea that you know what your favorite rock star is doing because of Instagram is a little bit lame to me. Like I kind of liked it that I only heard stories about Ozzy biting the head off. So yeah, man, it's different. I'll just have to say I'm going to do my best to try to try to embrace it as best I can.
Okay, you're releasing this 2-album live show. Let me ask you a question. Businessman to businessman, I've heard that internet radio and other radio stations don't have to pay ASCAP BMI fees if it's a live thing. How is it you're going to make money if it's live?
Well, listen, I'm going to just be shoot straight with you here. We're not expecting to make a load of money off the digital streaming of this live album. Okay. It's called Live at Trees. It's a venue we came up in Dallas, Texas, in Deep Ellum. And we're first of all, Era, it's not even going to be available digitally for a while. We want and again, here's the thing. We really do have great fans. I'm certain some of them are going to click on this and check this interview out. And so I'll just say to them, if you're listening and you're a fan of the Nixons, you don't know how much we love you and are thankful for your presence and for your support, because we got a lot of fans that are going to consume this because they just want to hear more stuff, and by the way, unfortunately, we did a tour last summer with Everclear and Fastball, and it was awesome. It was a blast. But we're just not, because of my day job as a songwriter. My drummer, John, is the full-time drummer for Seether. We're never really going to be able to do massive touring. And so I've already had several people say, I just ordered the live album. I live in Sacramento, and I haven't gotten to see you guys since you reunited. So we're really sort of releasing this vinyl album because of the vinyl of it all. Now, back to your point about, Spotify and all, how they pay royalties. Do not even get me started, because as a songwriter, it's a war that we wage every day. A buddy of mine went and spoke in front of Congress and pleaded, and it's getting better for us songwriters, but we're still not paid fairly.
Oh my God, I deal with that. What do you mean I got 100,000 listens and I only made a penny? What are you talking about? What's going on here?
Yeah.
So where can people go to find out more about the band, to give you guys love? And knowing you've got merchandise to sell.
We absolutely do. Yeah, man. We have a couple EPs we've released in the last few years. You can get all that stuff. I'm typing in the Nixons website because I don't want to get it wrong. But it's just the nixonsofficial.com. And then obviously people can follow us. Please do on Instagram. We try to post fun stuff. Follow us on X or Meta or whatever the hell it's called now. We do most of our stuff on Instagram and Facebook, just for clarification. But yeah, man, go check the website out. There's always news popping up. There will be some live shows. I don't know when this will air, but I'm actually playing a couple of acoustic shows at the end of January.
Nice.
So yeah.
Jeez. So now no TikTok because maybe they cut the songs back, or what? Why no TikTok?
Okay. Well.
Oh, here we go.
No, I don't have a good answer for you, honestly. The real answer is we should have a Nixons TikTok. We just don't. And I think maybe it's because, I kind of handle, most of the social media myself. And as I mentioned before, I keep referring to this day job, which again, I'm lucky to have it. I write songs for a living. I mean, I a little bit of time to work social media, but I'm not sure I'd be, I think I would, if I started a TikTok thing, it would probably end up just being lame because I wouldn't devote the time that I think you need to devote to it. When I'm ready, maybe we will.
So how do you deal with your creative discipline? Because I mean, I'm at that level where it's like I've got so many things that I do outside of what I do that you've got to have a form of discipline and you've got to stick to it.
Well, this is also pretty prescient because I just had a guest on my class who's a professional songwriter here who's had about 20 number one songs. And when one of the students asked him for advice, he had his answer ready because he's spoken on panels before and he knows the drill, right? But his answer was, treat it like a job.
Yeah,
get up in the morning and have your coffee, listen to some music, scribble down a couple of ideas, pick up a guitar, write a riff, because it is my job. I mean, it really is. So, and by the way, I'm with you, Arrow. I do the same thing. I do a music festival in Oklahoma that I am the founder of. As I mentioned, I teach this class. The Nixons play a little bit. I'm playing some solo acoustic shows. And then again, I keep falling back on the fact that my job is songwriter, producer in Nashville, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. So it's not easy all the time. Like you just said, you said you struggle with it a little bit, sort of staying focused when you're in one of those lanes. Luckily for me, and again, how many times am I going to knock on wood? I have in my phone right now, you can't see it, but I have, let's see, in my voice memo section, I have 989 voice memos that are just all song starts, song ideas.
Yep.
Little like, some of them are blah, na, 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 when the hymn hits the floor. Maybe some are just blah blahs or words or grooves. I've got a ton that it would just be embarrassing if I played them of me singing into my phone. So having said that, when I say I'm lucky, the ideas continue to come. I mean, and again, I do count myself pretty, I don't take that for granted because maybe someday they'll stop coming. But, just today with the band that I'm working with, I said, oh, you know what? That line actually would be better as its own standalone song. Why don't we work on that tomorrow? So, the other part of it is that it's the experience of it all. What's the 10,000 hours thing Malcolm Gladwell talks about? Like, I've done it so much that you can put me in the room with pretty much anybody and we're going to end up with a song. Is it going to be a hit? Who the hell ever knows the answer to that question?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow. All of those guitars behind you, which one is the closest to your origin?
The one right there.
There you go.
For people who are watching, can't see this. There's a Les Paul from the 90s. There's a bass, P bass right behind my head.
Yep.
There's a Billy Joe Les Paul that is my son's, and then that's my main mustard Les Paul 1995. We had to deal with Gibson, so all over this house, dude. There's I don't know 8 or 9 Les Pauls and a dozen or so acoustics, all different J200 12 string, a couple Martins, a couple Taylors. So we got tons.
God, I still have my Ibanez Flying V from the 1970s, and it's like you hold on to it, and it's like, oh, I'm still that kid. I'm never gonna grow up.
I love it, man. I love it that you still have that.
You got to come back to this show anytime in the future, Zach. Man, and whatever you guys are doing, we got to get it out there.
Man, I appreciate it. I love, as you can tell, I can be a little bit chatty, Kathy. But I love, again, I do love music, love what I get to do for a living. I've never had a real job. Arguably, I maybe should have at some point, but I've been lucky enough to be in the business, and it's in large part because of people like you getting the word out to those awesome fans that I mentioned. So I appreciate you and appreciate, the support and getting the word out. So yeah, go check out the Nixons official, follow us on social media, and let's do it again soon. Yeah, maybe I'll have we actually do have a new single that we're working on right now. So we'll talk about that somewhere down the line.
All right, man. All right. You be brilliant. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Thank you, Arrow. I appreciate the time.